of their work, but not a fan of their choices.
Right.
So I was just kind of being nice, but then when they want to take a picture with you, I realized very quickly how I was like, ooh, I don't know if this is a good idea. He clearly clocked that I was like, ooh, this is probably not a good idea. And I realized I was like, this guy, his face is toxic. You know, like going out into the world, like people are having a visceral reaction to this person.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today we're jumping right into a really intense split-second decision. It involves the actor Glen Powell, and it's basically described by our sources as this big ethics test for him.
Yeah, playing out right there under the Hollywood lights. High pressure doesn't even begin to cover it.
Okay, so let's set the scene for you. Picture this really glamorous, high wattage industry party. Everyone who's anyone is there. Buzzing conversation, bright lights.
And, importantly, that undercurrent of photographers.
Right.
Just waiting.
Right. Waiting for that perfect shot, the one that could make or break someone. That anxiety is definitely in the air.
And that environment, the glamour, but also the stakes, it perfectly frames the question here. What happens when you, genuinely admire someone's professional talent? But that slams right into really serious questions about their personal conduct.
Okay.
And you've got to make a call right then with, public opinion basically breathing down your neck.
Exactly. And that's where the conflict starts for Powell. He's there, moving through the party, and he comes face to face with this celebrity. Someone whose work he'd admired for ages, genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
But this wasn't just any actor. Our sources used some pretty strong words. They called this person toxic, freshly canceled.
Right. Their reputation was described as fractured, which in Hollywood...
That's not just awkward, it's like radioactive almost, professionally speaking.
Totally. And so our mission for you listening isn't about judging that controversy itself. It's really about unpacking the internal logic Powell used in that moment, that super fast calculation.
What can we learn from it?
Yeah, the universal lessons about integrity, accountability, and just who you choose to be seen with. That calculus of association.
Okay, so let's zoom in on that first moment. Powell sees the actor, and even though he knows there's this huge shadow or baggage around them now...
The respect for the art, for the talent, it was still there somewhere.
Apparently, yeah. So they exchange a few polite words, surface level stuff.
Standard party small talk. Keeping it smooth.
Everything seems okay for a second. But then, the stakes just become instantly real. Before they can even really settle into a chat, a photographer nearby spots them.
Sees the opportunity. Two known faces.
And makes that simple request. Can we take a photo? Just 3 words.
Oh, boy. And that simple request, it was like a bomb going off in slow motion, wasn't it?
Totally.
We need to break down why. Because in today's world, celebrity culture, digital media, that photo is not just a snapshot.
No way.
It's a statement. It's unambiguous. Our sources really stress this point. That single image hitting the internet could immediately be read by everyone, the public, studios, sponsors, as basically support, forgiveness, or even complicity.
Complicity, that's the killer word.
Yeah.
In whatever the other person was accused of.
Exactly.
And Powell got that instantly, like on a gut level. He didn't need his team there whispering in his ear. He talked about his physical reactions. He felt this intense knot in his stomach.
Like, he could actually feel the weight of public opinion pressing down. Knowing that photo, it becomes a whole new narrative, a damaging one for him.
And that physical feeling, that knot, it's tied directly to the professional risk, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about, oh, this feels awkward. It's about future roles, contracts, millions of dollars potentially. It's about protecting the image he's been carefully building.
Yeah, his brand.
A rising star's biggest asset really is that perception of integrity. And a photo with someone labeled freshly canceled, it just throws doubt on that immediately. It makes you look complicit just by standing next to them.
So he was completely stuck, trapped, really, facing this binary choice. Pose for the photo, smile, and risk totally poisoning his own narrative. That image of being reliable, bankable.
Gone, or at least tarnished.
Or refuse, say no to the photo, which means creating this incredibly awkward, visible scene right there.
Yeah, in front of dozens of industry people, which is its own kind of failure in that world, isn't it? Social suicide almost.
Right. There's no easy out. No. And this brings us to, the core of it, that internal calculation he had to make so fast. The pressure must have been immense. But somehow, in that split second, he found this guiding principle.
What was it?
He basically reminded himself of a key distinction. I'm a fan of their work, but not a fan of their choices.
Okay, let's pause on that line for a second, because that really is the deep dive here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about art versus artist all the time, like theoretically, sitting around debating it.
Right. It's often a comfortable debate, philosophical.
But Powell had to make it practical.
Mm.
Right there. He had to separate them in his actions, not just his head.
He absolutely did. And you cannot overstate how significant that distinction is today. Maybe in, decades ago, it was easier to separate the work from the person. People didn't know as much, maybe didn't care as much.
Or the information didn't spread instantly.
Exactly. But now, this digital age, constant scrutiny, immediate accountability, that line's basically dissolved for many people.
Yeah.
The audience often sees the art and the artist as completely tangled up. So by landing on that thought, fan of the work, not the choices, he drew a boundary. A clear one.
It protected his professional future.
It was like an instant risk assessment. Pretty sophisticated for being on the spot like that.
It wasn't just about morals, it was strategic survival.
Definitely.
He kept the right to, privately appreciate the movies or whatever,
Sure. Yeah.
while refusing to give a public thumbs up to the person and their recent issues.
It's the difference between loyalty and endorsement. Huge difference.
And he decided in that second that endorsement was just too costly.
Yeah, but the refusal had its own cost, right? Imagine that moment the photographer asks. Powell hesitates.
Violence. Awkward silence.
He had to just stand there and absorb that tension. And his move was to physically step back.
Right. Create distance.
Which sent a signal to everyone watching. It wasn't just physical distance, it was symbolic.
I'm separating myself from this controversy.
Exactly. A symbolic retreat from that shadow the other celebrity was carrying.
And what happened right after he refused? Did things just go back to normal?
Not at all. He admitted the whole vibe just shifted. Instantly.
The polite chat. Over.
Yeah, the flow was gone. And you can bet the other actor noticed.
Oh, absolutely. Especially someone already feeling the heat of being freshly canceled.
They would be hyper aware of that hesitation, that line being drawn so clearly in the sand. That refusal, that moment of drawing the line, it kind of served as another sharp reminder to the controversial actor, didn't it? Like, okay, your status really has changed. You're now seen as potentially damaging to others.
It reinforces their isolation. Powell's decision became part of that narrative.
Yeah. Who is and who isn't willing to associate with this person now?
Okay, so let's pull back a bit. Connect this specific Hollywood moment to the bigger picture. Because this whole encounter, it really reflects something universal, doesn't it? It goes way beyond red carpets.
Absolutely. It highlights a pretty sobering truth about modern life, really. How much our reputation hinges not just on what we do,
but on who we're seen standing next to.
Precisely. The company we keep.
And this applies to everyone listening, right? It's not just a celebrity problem.
I don't know.
Think about it in your own life. Maybe you're in a corporate setting. Do you like that controversial post from a colleague? Do you go to dinner with someone facing serious professional accusations?
And get photographed doing it.
Right. That picture, that association, it can become your problem too. Implied complicity.
It's the calculus of association. And looking at how Powell processed it is interesting. He actually compared the dilemma to, playing a character.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like a character who has fallen from grace and is desperately trying to get back in good standing.
So he wasn't just thinking about his own skin.
It sounds like he was also thinking about the whole mechanism of public redemption, how it works or doesn't work.
Interesting.
And that led him to what he called a sobering truth. He pointed out, not every redemption story actually works out. Some mistakes.
They just stick.
They follow you forever, was his observation. The public doesn't always grant a clean slate.
Especially now.
Especially now. And maybe his refusal was, in a way, a quiet acknowledgement of that. Maybe for this person, the path back was closed. Or at least, he couldn't be the one to help pave it. He couldn't afford to be their bridge.
Wow. That adds another layer.
Yeah.
So that photo request, seemingly small, in the middle of a party.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about a picture. It was truly a test of boundaries, integrity, and instinct. Pitting that desire for social ease, just smile, avoid the awkwardness, move on against professional survival.
Against integrity.
Exactly. Which path do you choose?
So wrapping this up, what's the core takeaway for you, the listener, from this deep dive?
I think it's that Glen Powell chose his integrity, his professional narrative, over just being polite or avoiding a scene.
Yeah.
He made that tough instant call to walk away, prioritizing what he'd built.
And knowing how he navigated that, it gives you real insight into the mechanics of public endorsement, right?
Right.
We all face versions of this, maybe not with paparazzi flashing, but in our networks, our workplaces.
For sure.
This story gives you a kind of framework. It helps you maybe identify when simple loyalty might be crossing over into risky, unwanted endorsement, when standing with someone becomes standing for them.
That's a great way to put it.
And it leaves us really with the question that hangs in the air after hearing this story, the one the source material kind of pushes you towards. Powell had the clarity, maybe the guts, to draw that line right then and there.
Yeah.
So put yourself in a similar spot, maybe not Hollywood, but in your career, your life, that immediate public pressure. What would you have done? Where do you draw that line between admiring someone's talent or history and the need for accountability for their character or actions now?
Something to definitely think about next time you choose who you stand beside.